This wheelchair-bound tyke who suffers from spina bifida was so upset by being patted down, she even changed her mind about every child's dream vacation.
I heard that you've been having some trouble finding your place in the world. I know how much that hurts, but if you need a friend, then please just say the word.
Denise Albert, who's battling breast cancer, says the incident at Los Angeles International Airport left her feeling violated and in tears. She said she was forced to endure a cavity search in public. Part of that Sunday incident was captured on cell phone video, which she posted to her Facebook page.
Yes.
You can't touch me.
So you're gonna go straight down the hallway and make a left.
You cannot touch me. That was the part I was like, you can't touch me there. You can't touch me there. Sorry.
What's the issue?
I have breast cancer. I had a lumpectomy. I have a port in me. You can't touch me there.
Alright. So that is part of the procedure. We have to clear everything. So like she was explaining, she's going to use the back of her hands. She's going to use as much pressure as she needs to clear the area.
Denise, who is co-founder of The Moms, joins us now. So this happened on Sunday at LAX. You posted this video. It got a lot of attention. What happened before what we saw? What led to this part of it, and who was shooting that video?
Absolutely. Anytime I go through security at the airport, I now let them know, which is part of the procedure, which a lot of medical patients don't know, and that's why I want it out there. I let them know I have a port, I let them know I was wearing a wig, and that I had medical cream, and usually it goes right through the x-ray machine. I go through, if they want to pat me down, they can. Usually they test the cream. This time they took it too far, and they told me after I went through the scanner that because I was carrying cream, I had to remove my shoes.
Because it was a larger tube?
It's larger.
Because if you travel with a prescription, that doesn't fall under the 311 rule.
Well, you are allowed, if you tell them that you have a medical condition, to have something larger.
Right, exactly.
And it does have a prescription on it.
Right.
So normally, again, they took this way out of line, and those two agents didn't really, I think, know what their protocol was. And so what you saw in the video was sort of the end of it. Mm-hmm. What happened before is that they told me that they were going to pat me down with pressure. And I got very upset.
So they specifically told you pressure?
They did, absolutely. And I got very upset. And when you're going through cancer treatment, there are so many emotions. And I didn't want anybody touching my wig. I paid a lot of money for it. Their insurance didn't cover it. And it's a very emotional thing. Mm-hmm. So instead of having them mess with it or take it off, I ripped it off, which I don't do in public. I've posted on social media when I'm not live and when I feel like it can help other people, mm-hmm. but I have not taken it off like that in public.
And this wasn't in a separate screening room?
No, this was out in public. And then she proceeded to take her hands and put them down the back of my pants. Also, they're not allowed to touch my skin. And I think I was just in such shock and, mm-hmm. and so afraid that you're going to be arrested or something if you object to it. And then from there, she searched my legs, and that's what you see on the video. She put her hands in areas where she shouldn't have.
So we reached out to the TSA. I know you posted this. You got a lot of reaction from it. We reached out to the TSA. They sent us the following statement saying, quote, TSA reviewed what occurred during the screening that caused a stressful situation for Ms. Albert. Ms. Albert was eventually provided a private screening environment with a witness in attendance that resolved the situation. TSA deeply regrets the distress this additional security screening caused Ms. Albert. Now, they didn't tell us this, but I know that they called you and you had a separate conversation with them where they said, they apologized and they said they're going to retrain people at LAX?
They did, and which feels really good. And I was very pleased with our conversation. I spoke with Kimberly Walton from the TSA. She apologized a few times in our conversation. She said that they are very disappointed with the way this situation was handled. They are investigating it, and she did say that they have 3,000 TSA agents at LAX who will all be retrained on how to handle people with medical conditions.
So what did they specifically not do that they were supposed to do? Where does she say they need to be retrained?
She didn't go into detail on that. I think they're still investigating it, but she admitted that they are not happy with how this was handled, and it is very disappointing to their agency.
Was there a supervisor around?
We waited for the supervisor to arrive about 20 minutes, which also was a horrible experience because they had made me take my shoes off. My shoes went through the x-ray. They wouldn't give them back to me. So my feet were cold, which is also another symptom that I have from the side effects of chemo.
Of chemo, which a lot of people have gone through cancer
Right, and they didn't
that.
care. The supervisors who eventually came over were very kind and were very helpful, and they did give me my shoes right back. I was able to walk into the private area. They gave me a very appropriate pat down. And then there was a little bit more after that. The two agents, when my pat down was done, the two agents who did not handle it well said, well, we still have to go through her bags, which also didn't seem right because my bags had gone through the x-ray machine and were placed back next to me.
So just to be clear, because this has happened to me at LAX where they do the wipe on my hands,
Right.
and I was pulled aside for separate screening, and I had a private room, and they took everything out of my bag,
Right.
and they swabbed everything, and they eventually said, well, it was probably your hand cream.
Right.
You hadn't set off an alarm. It was simply the fact they told you that you had this prescription cream with you, and that gave them pause.
That is what they told
Okay.
me.
All right. Denise, good to have you with us. We're glad to hear that you
Thank
got such a
you.
quick response. And I
Thank
know, as you
you.
said, this is important because so many people do travel with medical conditions.
Right.
That they know what their rights are and what the guidelines are. So keep us posted.
Thank you.
Nice to see
An
you.
advanced pat down from the TSA while she was traveling to New York. This is Angela Rye, and she had a police officer film the pat down that she experienced. And before I show you the video that she also posted on Twitter, let me give you some context. Rye said that she was singled out for a random search and that she had not set off any metal detector alarms. The TSA called a police officer when she had asked why she was being singled out. Officials told her she could cooperate or be escorted from the airport by police. Now, she has pre-check status, which of course you pay nearly $100 for. And then she has another status in addition to that that allows you to kind of get through the lines a little quicker. Clear, it's called Clear. But regardless of that, they randomly chose her, and this is what happened.
And your palms up to the ceiling like that. Start from your head.
Just a standard screen.
I flash several times a week and this has never happened, so it's alarming. So hopefully you guys,
It might be the shoes and the dress.
but I hope you can understand from the standpoint of what it shows on there, it was alarming. Like I just never.
Honestly, 2 weeks ago I had my butt patted down by TSA. I flew into St. Louis, so this is just a standard ATD, and it's true.
So we're gonna go across the front, back of the hands. And then I gotta get your right boot. This is where I'm gonna need a sock. I don't which.
Is your sock in your thing?
Okay. This story like really stood out to me because it definitely happens when you least expect it, and it's super, super intrusive and humiliating. And the reason why she wanted it to kind of be recorded is so she can let people know, look, this is what it's like. But I had that happen to me. I talked about it in a recent story, and the TSA agent put her hands down my pants inside my underwear. Like in this case, when the TSA agent was going up her leg, she says that her hand, touched her crotch. And yeah, that absolutely does happen, 100%. I used to think, no, come on, they don't actually touch your crotch. They do.
No, absolutely. They do.
Front and back, okay? Inside the underwear, that's what happened. I don't know if she intentionally did that. I'm still willing to give the TSA agent benefit of the doubt because I was wearing skinny jeans and maybe she just didn't know. But it was so uncomfortable and you feel so violated and you feel helpless because you have no choice. And by the way, I'm not the victim of sexual assault or rape. Imagine if you're the victim of sexual assault and rape and you have a stranger touching you like that just so you can get on the flight that you paid hundreds of dollars for.
Well, I have been raped, and I have been a victim of sexual assault, and this has happened to me at the airport, and I felt like I was being singled out, and I have my hair just like this, and they made me take my hair down, and she rubbed her hands all through my hair. And it's also done in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Yes.
They don't take you to the back, they don't move you to the side. And it is humiliating, and it is also, sometimes you can feel the malice in it. It's not that they're trying to sexually assault you, but they're trying to humble you. And I say this all the time, to work at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, you have to have a degree, but not to be a TSA agent. And I think that I'm not in any way implying that you have to have a post-secondary education to be someone that works at the airport, and I believe that all people should be able to get a job. But I do believe that there has to be some sort of extensive training when you're dealing with this kind of stuff, specifically when you're dealing with people and you're touching body parts.
Right.
And there was no need to have to do through the hair thing. Like, it was just, for me,
That's
you see my
weird.
hair. They made me take my hair down. She rubbed her hands all through my hair, messed my hair up. It was
Yeah,
just...
I'm sorry, I just want to clarify one thing before I forget. So they did offer her to go to a private room, but she didn't want that because she wanted people to see what this is like and what you go through. They asked me to go to a private room as well, but I was running late, and so that could take forever, right, for them to find a room to take you there. So I was like, just do it, and I didn't realize how invasive it was going to be. Sorry.
No, and to both of your points, also being taken to a private room also elicits fear, right? I don't know who's taking me, who are you, what's going to happen, you know, and I think that's also part of the reason why she had it filmed, right, is to show, you know, what actually happened, how she was touched, so it's not just her word against TSA's. And also just to talk a little bit about the response of first the TSA agent who's trying to minimize because he had this happen to him, and also some of the responses on social media who say, you know, this happened to me, or, you know, it's all in the interest of safety, right? People have different relationships to their bodies being touched, right?
Yes.
Whether they be sexual assault victims, whether they be women of color whose hair is touched constantly, right? In various situations at school, right? And just randomly walking through life, right? So when TSA does it, which they did, had a specific mandate to specifically touch black women's hair without question based on stereotypes, which they just ended a while ago. You can see why people would have certain sensitivities to TSA, even if it is in the interest of public safety.
One of these new pat-downs was recorded at DFW Airport, and we asked Omar Villafranca to get the story behind it.
Jennifer Williamson started recording as the TSA pulled aside her 13-year-old son Aaron for additional screening after he left his laptop in his bag. Then, for 2 minutes, performed the new pat-down procedure on the boy.
I do think that as a young child, that posed no threat, that had already passed an X-ray screening, that it was completely unnecessary.
Williamson says she informed the agents her son has a sensory processing disorder, which makes him sensitive to touch. But
we were told in no uncertain terms that we could submit to the pat-down or we could be escorted out of the airport.
in a statement to CBS News, the TSA says all approved procedures were followed to resolve an alarm of the passenger's laptop. The TSA implemented the new thorough pat-down procedure after a 2015 audit showed that agents had failed to detect handguns and other weapons at security checkpoints. Travelers like Emily Marucci don't mind the extra scrutiny.
I guess for me it's okay, just to make sure that everyone stays safe. There have been a lot of incidents at the airports recently.
Williamson says she understands the need for safety, but is upset that her son wasn't given any other screening options.
A child in that situation should be handled more delicately.
Williamson has filed a formal complaint with the TSA about the pat-down that happened here at DFW Airport. But Scott, she says she has not heard back from the agency.
A 10-year-old girl is given a very thorough pat-down by a TSA agent. She is slowly patted down on her buttocks, chest, tummy, and legs. The screening lasts nearly 2 minutes. And look, she's barefoot because TSA agents have removed her shoes.
I was very angry, very, 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 very angry. And I felt like screaming, throwing a tantrum, running out of there.
It happened at Raleigh-Durham International Airport in North Carolina. 10-year-old Vendela Payne was returning home to San Diego with her dad.
It was not a justified search. It was an unnecessary search. It was really violating my daughter.
He says the pat-down was triggered after TSA agents discovered a carton of juice in her purse. When her dad objected to the pat-down, listen to what a TSA agent told him.
Guess what? We don't live in a make sense world.
Reaction is mixed.
You have young daughters. I mean, how would you feel if you saw that?
You know what? I think I would be okay with it because I'd rather err on the side of caution.
I think we all have to question on a 10-year-old, is it excessive? You know, with children, it's always a difficult barometer.
Twitter lit up with comments. Yes, that TSA agent went well past the line in this search. But there is also support for the TSA agent. I don't see anything other than the TSA agent doing her job. The TSA said in a statement the process by which the child was patted down followed approved procedures.
Okay, I don't know how old these stories are, but the fact is, our country needs a lot of prayers, because I don't know how I would act if my child was searched like that, or Lacey, my grandbaby. I don't know how I would act if any of my family was searched like that.